Minister, you know why I brought it?
Let me finish.
Okay.
The point is, Costa, subsidy made a lot of success in many ways, as I highlighted there.
I'm glad you agree.
They didn't do one fundamental thing that we're worried about. They didn't bring down poverty. Poverty has been increasing.
That is not true.
That's
that is not
our
true.
Manifesto.
That
Stimulines that our worry is to
that
stop.
Is not true, Minister.
To stop poverty, uplift people out of poverty.
For the sake of driving this debate, forward.
Yes.
I want categorically for the Minister to state the real rationale and objective. Why you say this is a saving? He's refused to say it's not a saving.
It's not a saving.
You are removing money
Not
from subsidies. You say we are saving about 300 billion kwacha per month. Where are we going to take this money?
If we didn't do anything, that's the money we are saving. Okay.
If you don't do anything.
But
if we did remove the subsidy,
we are saving it. Where are we taking it? Where are we putting it?
We're continuing with the program, and we continue with the program of the roads. We are reaching the poor already. There are areas where there are no
but
roads.
We're also doing roads.
We are breaking maybe you are doing in town, which is fine.
No.
We've continued in the compounds. We've continued with the roads. We supported the Formula 1 and we've picked it on. In the rural areas where there were no roads, we are breaking the country. We are linking the country, and first to help the poor people. You are talking about fuel. The people, the small scale Costa who grow these crops,
but
don't even have tractors. They don't use
projects
fuel.
not budgeted.
Minister,
were these road projects not budgeted for?
No,
because I remember when you went to Wall Street, you boasted to say this money that we're borrowing now will come into infrastructure development such as roads.
Haven't you seen roads being launched every other week? Hospitals being launched, universities being launched?
Yes,
where did that money come from?
Now the question, Mohamed, before you come in, now the question also is, you remove subsidies on fuel and the cost of fuel per litre goes up. Doesn't that increase the cost of production? Aren't we back into a catch-22 situation? You're building roads, but the cost of production in this country goes higher.
First of all, inflation is going to go up 1 to 2%. We've already done the calculation. The experts in the Ministry of Finance have already done the simulation. We anticipate a slight increase, not a sharp increase, because fuel is only one aspect. Don't assume every Zambian has a car. Only a small percentage below.
But will fuel hike only affect those who have personal vehicles?
No. It goes in the industry, as we've been told. I agreed.
Yeah.
But there are other costs. There's rentals. There's other. Fuel is only one attribute to the inflation basket.
It triggers production on almost everything because for the miller, bread will go up because if I'm using fuel. Transport triggers everything, Minister. You know this better.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Let me point out, Costa. When you have a boil, each pute or chilon, that thing, when it's swollen, you can do two things. You can take ice and soothe it, or you can be scratching around it every day and you feel better. Does the pain go out? You know the answer. What do you need to do to permanently resolve that? You need to do a surgical on it and squeeze it. It's going to be painful for 1 hour or a day. After that, that's it.
I'll be coming to you, but people on the street and others, yes, scratching on it. Now, that's
what the MMD was doing.
And you
scratching.
So you're saying we the citizens must swallow the bitter pill for now. It's painful. It will be costly. But
the rich people must swallow the bitter pill. People are not going to be affected.
Minister, now the question is this.
Yeah.
People are arguing, if you want people to sacrifice, or whether it's the rich people, they make their money. You are causing by-elections, you're tolerating them. Your cabinet is now the largest ever on this planet. So, how are you saving?
I'm laughing because it's not true. Let me first, before I answer
because during the campaign you promised you would reduce the size of cabinet.
Yes.
How many deputy ministers are in Commerce?
As a preamble.
How many deputy ministers are you serving within Commerce?
I'm not the secretary to cabinet.
No, but you know.
Well, three. I thought you were asking the entire government.
No, in cabinet.
There's actually two.
Commerce,
there's me and there's Richard Samnene, the MP for Sinazongo.
And Richard
so
Timer?
There's two. Richard Timer is not in government. He's not in parliament either. He's resigned. So
another by-election. These two questions. Blotted cabinet, by-election.
Can I answer?
Can't you save on that?
Me out.
Before you come in, I promise I'll keep quiet.
Because I have many points too.
I'll keep quiet. Before I answer that, Costa, to do anything you need money, okay? You need money. Without money, when you finish the interview, if you go home without money, our wives will chase us. You need money. It's same with government. You need money to help the people. Where do you get money from? First you borrow. We went and borrowed 750. You complained you are indebting the country.
No,
so we only
complain.
borrowed a little bit. Where else do we get the money from? We stop wastage. And
Isn't it wastage to have over 80 ministers serving in cabinet?
No. If today,
It's not a wastage.
No. Let me correct the misnomer. First of all, when the president went on the platform and we went on platform, I remember him saying he will have a smaller cabinet.
Yes, he did.
The good news is, the news to you, Costa and Mwabi, is that yes, he has a smaller cabinet compared to MMD.
That is not
I think
true.
MMD had the 22
that is
ministers.
No,
The
no.
PF has 19
Minister.
ministers.
And how many deputy
Cabinet,
ministers?
wait. Cabinet comprises of ministers, not deputy ministers. We don't attend cabinet.
But they are an expenditure.
So the president delivered. He's got a mean cabinet, a smaller cabinet compared to the MMD by 1 or 2 ministers.
But
Can
Minister, honestly, Mohamed, you can come in. Honestly,
I want to go
who
back
is
to-
paying for your fuel, for your talk time, for your office space? Isn't it us, the taxpayers? Why have two of you now?
I was going to make this point. If today there's a decision that all deputy ministers should earn back their cars and give no fuel allowance,
Why don't you do that? That is saving that we want to see as citizens.
Will the poverty levels go down? No. The
Why
point is
not?
that is negligible to the bigger picture. If you want me to save, you know me, Costa, before I joined government, I was
Can I join
buying
in?
my own fuel.
Yes.
I can give up the fuel. I don't need
can
the
I
fuel.
join in?
How many of you would
I just need to do a job.
Costa.
One deputy minister has
Let us
already
not,
said we're going to this for eating purposes.
Well,
So we don't know
Well,
if,
if you like it, personally, I can take it on my own. I can give back the fuel allowance. I don't need it
take
as
from
a
Mr.
savings.
Munkombwe. Let's see.
I think that we're getting away from the substantive issue of subsidies, and I think this is important because it will affect people's lives. I want
Rich
to get,
people's lives.
No. It will affect poor people's lives. And I think that the statement of the president, which I have also here, and I can read it to you, he acknowledges that it will affect the poor. I want to raise just 2 points, then I'll let the minister speak again. The first point is this, okay? Under the MMD, especially under the last 3 years of RB, okay? We were building hospitals, we were building roads, and he's saying that roads just in the urban areas. The Chipata Mfue Road, which we were building, okay? Which they said, the president Michael Sata said, how can you build roads for animals? That's what he said. Now, ZNBC shows that it's part of...
That's politics.
No, it's not. I'm just telling you, but it's
He's
not
not
true.
here to defend
No,
himself. He might
no.
say no. He didn't say that.
I was not. Let me finish, Minister. Well, I'm making a point that we were building roads. Chipata Mfue Road, who the president said it was for animals, now it is being said it's part of 8-link-1000. We were building the most expensive road in this country, the Mongo Kalao Road. We were building the Levi Manawasa Hospital. We were doing schools everywhere. We were doing all of that while maintaining the subsidies for fuel and maize. If we did it, why can't they did it?
That's why you left us in huge debts.
No, we didn't leave.
Where did the money for Formula One come from?
But Minister, please let us be truthful.
But, yeah, okay,
we
so
left reserves of almost $2.6 billion in the thing. So don't say that we left you in debt. We didn't leave you in debt.
No.
That is the first point. The second point is this. I raised the issue of UNIP and MMD, not because I wanted to, because the minister said that the definition of madness is doing the same thing over and expecting a different result. What I was trying to say, that we have removed subsidies in these countries before, and we were forced, like a dog with a tail between its legs, to go back to subsidies. We were forced by the people of Zambia, who said, we do not like this extreme capitalist policy. The PF got into government on the basis that they would be socialist. Yet they're implementing policies of an extreme capitalist society. What claim do they have to be socialist? That is a question that he has to answer. And he can't run away from it. That is a fundamental question. We, the so-called capitalists, were subsidizing. They said we were a bunch of bums because we were not caring for them. Then they come, the glorious heroes who believe in socialism, and they do what? They said, let the poor pay through their noses because we're going to invest in long-term infrastructure. Any investment in long-term, in infrastructure, is always long-term. That is what we were doing as MMD. Now, the problem with that is this, that you do not have short-term benefits. And that is what the complaint of the civil society was, of the church was, and so on. Now, they've reversed it. So they should answer, what immediate measures will they put in place to ensure that they provide for the poor what they said they would provide? That is a question they have to answer.
Respond to that
Quickly,
question.
I kept saying earlier on, I said it. What we are changing as per our manifesto is the way the subsidy is managed. Okay? Nowhere in the world there will be need for subsidy.
Can you repeat that again? The way the subsidy
the administration
of the way the subsidy is managed, not to get rid of the subsidy.
No.
No, that's what you've said. In your manifesto, you said, and I've read your manifesto, my brother. It is said that you will change the administration of the subsidy.
Yes.
You did not say that you are going to abolish the subsidy. And the point here is this, sir, that if something is wrong, if a car has broken down in the middle of the road, what you do is you fix it. You understand what the problem is, get the right parts and fix it. You do not throw the car in the river.
If the car
that is what you're doing.
If the car was built in 1964,
no,
you
this
keep
car,
fixing it and wasting money. You might as well throw it and buy another one.
This car, according to your minister, was working. In fact, please, sir, let me also point out. Let me just point out. Let me just point one. Let me just point one issue, and then I'll keep quiet. When the PF were campaigning, they said, they did not say they were going to abolish it. That's the point I was making. They said while the MMD was giving 8 bags of fertilizer for the support program, they will give 15. Am I wrong, Minister? Am I wrong?
You tell me.
No, but because you are the PF, I'm just telling you.
Since you want to talk non-stop, I'll listen.
No, for me, I just want to get to the bottom of it. We were giving 8, they said they were going to give 15. We were giving 900 according to this. They said they would give more than 1 million. Okay? Now he says that they said that they were going to restructure it. They did not talk about abolishing fuel subsidies in order to fix Indeni. That is not what they said. They said the prices of fuel were expensive because of 3 things. 1, the corruption of the MMD will sort that out. 2, because there were too many taxes, and we would reduce the taxes. 3, they came, the first thing the President Sata did when he came was to appoint a commission to study ERB. And they said after this study comes, everything will be all right and the prices will go down. Then 9 months later, they come and said we are taking the subsidy away because this was the cause. So now you have to ask him, was it corruption? Was it corruption? I put it to you that it was not. They said they would reduce tax and they have imposed a tax on the people of Zambia. That is what they have done.
The real people we are targeting in the rural areas in Kalabo, if we go and tell them we're trying to get money from you and give you, they will not be this emotional. Costa, this thing of subsidy, there are so many people eating in it. There's too much in Chekeleko. Not Mwabi, but some of these people I've seen coming on radio and TV, you will find they are probably sponsored by another farmer who's been benefiting. So now, Yaluka, because we have removed, that's why you're seeing people being agitated, because now there will be no more money making them richer and richer. We're trying to stop that. What we're saying is, we've done that. Give us time. You will see. We'll go to the poor people. The poor people, we know them.
But what is the immediate short term?
Yeah, but I'm not rich.
Where's rich? Let's get back to statistics. The majority of Zambians, including myself, are not rich.
Costa, you're not poor either. Have you seen a poor Zambian?
No, but making ends meet as a taxpayer, making ends meet, things are expensive. The cost of living is expensive.
Well, first of all, everyone has been discussing or saying all the developed countries, they give subsidy to farmers. Europe, America and the USA. Well, I've got news for you. They are regretting. That's why in Europe they are talking of austerity measures. Let me finish. Austerity measures, they are talking of sequester in the USA. They have now realized that they were blundering and they are running away from that. That's why this side of Africa, you're seeing the economies are growing. They're having major problems. They are running away from those subsidies because they never worked.
That is not true, Minister.
I was going to say honorable.
No, I'm not honorable.
Being in leadership partly is to listen to the people. To listen to what others are saying.
But my role is to provide checks and balances.
Well, after I finish.
And you know why I'm so excited? You know what I'm saying?
Let him finish.
Okay, sorry.
Because he's arguing before I even finish. Let me put it to him. Let me speak like we speak in Parliament. Mohabi, I put it to you You had said earlier on that the MMD didn't leave us in debt. I put it to you that when the MMD went away in 2011, you left us in debt of $145 million. Those roads that they came Costa in our compounds in Matero, Mtendere and Kalingainga doing quick roads just to win elections. 3 months before election, all the dust in the compounds. Those roads, they didn't have money. We asked them, where are you getting the money from? Because it wasn't budgeted at the time. When we went
said they got it from mineral royalties. From mineral tax.
That was a lie. When we went in the Ministry of Finance, we found a debt of 145 million from Deutsche Bank, which they borrowed for 3 months, an expensive loan. That's why part of the Euro bonds that we brought, we had to repay that debt. So isn't that a debt? We found 145 million for the roads in the compound. You didn't pay for them. You borrowed.
Honorable Minister, I can answer these questions very soundly. But we are not talking about the borrowing of the roads. I think we are talking about subsidies, and I would like us to stick to that issue.
It's because you are interjecting and disagreeing with me before I finish.
Let me moderate and guide this interview for the sake of my viewers. There's a question I want answered. You say that this objective is to push into the pocket of the rich people and sort of save the poor people. But in this short term, your decision, I'm interacting with people on buses, I'm interacting with people everywhere. Whether you call them rich or poor, everybody will buy a meal bag at an expensive price. If the price of bus fares goes up, the poor people will
Not
feel
if, they have already gone up.
People will feel it. So, again, in the immediate term, what are you doing?
Costa, first of all, the price of meal won't go up now because that means that
it's already expensive. It's 70 kwacha per bag.
I was going to say that means in circulation the meal was already subsidized for under the 2012-2013 budget and FISIP and FRA. It's already been subsidized. Okay, that's why the price hasn't shot up immediately. What will change is in the next season in 2014. So you will not see any major.
In 2014,
change.
It will go up.
It will go up because we will not give that subsidy.
Will people become poorer or richer then?
No, wait. What we're doing is getting this money and putting it to the poor people, putting it to the people in the compounds and the rural areas, to give them the money. We promised them money in the pocket. We didn't say the money will come from the president's pocket and give them, or will come from Mausamp or the Minister of Finance pocket and give them. We'll say, we'll give you your money. How? The Zambian people are not poor. The money is there, but it was being eaten up by this monster called subsidy. So we are getting it.
That's what you said in your manifesto.
To give them. In our manifesto, we said we'll do it different from the way MMD was doing. It says in there we'll change the administration. So we'll not give the subsidy to the commercial farmers.
Let me quickly ask one thing. You can bring in. You mentioned a very important point on the three issues on fuel, the taxes. Yes. Partly the reason even under the MMD that fuel was quite expensive was the so many taxes within the fuel structure, the fuel pricing structure. So why not continue on the taxation rather than remove the subsidy?
No, in fact, what the PF have done by removing this subsidy is they've actually imposed a tax on the poor. And if the minister wants to debate,
the poor don't drive.
Please, Minister. What I'm saying is that you have imposed a tax on the poor. When I was telling you of how subsidies are implemented, one of the issues I said there was tax incentives, tax credits are all part of the subsidies. And in inverse, what you have done is impose a tax on the poor. Now, because yes, agreed. So let us be frank about that. But there is even something that is more fundamental in my view. And maybe that is why I'm overspeaking, because I'm very excited, Minister, to be here. You know why I'm excited to be here? You know why I'm excited? Because for the first time, Movie and you have agreed for us to debate.
Right.
The rest of the people are not allowing us. ZNBC is not allowing. I understand that Winter Kavimba is on ZNBC now, unchallenged. And this is not good.
I'm happy to go with you to ZNBC. We have this debate.
Please let us do so. I challenge them because I called them.
Unlike in the MMD time, we allow everybody at ZNBC now.
Movie is national. Africa is watching. Don't worry about that.
No, that's why I'm saying I'm excited because of
that. We need to switch in the viewers.
But let us go to the second issue, which for me, I think that is very cardinal. And really, that is the issue of the promises we make to the electorate when we want them to be elected. We have been criticized. The president's speech, and I can read it to you, he has criticized all of us who are criticizing him as megaphone armchair critics who have got no immediate solutions to the people. Okay? Now, I put it to the people of Zambia. Who was the armchair critic when we were doing this? One of the reasons why Mwanawasa and Rupia Banda maintained the subsidies was because of the fear that if we withdraw the subsidies, the perpetual armchair critic, in the name of my president, would say, look at the MMD. They are only concerned about the rich. That is why they are removing the subsidy. In fact, President Michael Sata made a lot of noise. And it was the reason. I was at the Ministry of Finance, I can tell you. And it is the reason why the subsidies, when they were originally supposed to be there for 3 years, were extended, because by the time they were coming to the life of the end of the parliament, it was in 1996. In 1996, President Sata went everywhere and started saying, look at these people. They want to remove subsidies. Now he has reversed. And people of Zambia want to blame us, and they want to give him an open state. That is not fair, my brother. That is not fair. And though I am getting emotional, I'm just trying to be very candid. We were prevented from executing long-term programs because people of Zambia were convinced that the right way to go was short-term 90-day promises. They have now failed, and they're expecting all of us to agree.
Mwabi, when the current president was criticizing the then president on these issues, he should have been bold enough to stick by what you believed in. You guys should have been bold enough.
And
like we are. No matter how you argue, we are bold. We've discussed this in details, and we are very clear on what we want to do. No matter how you attack us, we owe it to the Zambian people who will do it. Now, I was going to say, because you keep going in the past, Mwabi, you were my Unzasu, were you vice president?
No, I was, well, I think I was virtually. Edward Sefuke was the president.
Yes.
Me and Fabian were sharing.
When I was in first year at Unza, he was in the interim Unzasu. So at the time, you were my leader. And since then, we've worked parallel. But then, the trouble is in your debate and discussion, and I've heard you on radio, you've got many positives, but you keep going in the past. You keep referring how the current president said this, how you nip it this and this. But the Zambian people want now and tomorrow. What is happening? Most of these people listening in rural areas have no clue what happened in the MMD time.
No, but Miles, let me ask you a question. If the president said, I will do this, and then he comes and does something else, are you telling me that I don't have the right to ask him that you said you would do this, and then you accuse me that I'm going into the past?
Let's guide this debate. We need to switch.
No, I just want him to answer.
We need to switch in the viewers.
Because what he's saying,
we need to switch in the viewers.
What Miles is saying.
There's a saying, Mwabi, there's a saying, bury the past, the past will bury you.
No, we can't bury the past. Honorable Sampa.
Forward.
Honorable Sampa, I do so with very respect. You are respecting me, and I want to respect you as well.
Yeah.
If you are saying that we cannot remind politicians who say they will do one thing, then we will always be lying to the electorate. Because it will be seen to be okay to lie. Because when the opposition later will come, but you said, you will say you are talking about the past. A politician is elected on the basis of his promises, on the basis of his undertakings. And it is our responsibility in the opposition to remind the voters that they promised you this. And that is not burying the past.
Let's go and hear what the people are saying, this evening through Facebook as well as our inbox. My guest, the Commerce Deputy Minister Miles Sampa, as well as Mojave Lungu. UNIP introduced subsidy. MMD did not remove the subsidies, but rather maintain them for poor people's benefit and lower prices for everyone, including the rich, for 48 years now. What's new that this PF regime wants to replace subsidy with? That is Peter from Chalimbana, where a university was just, commissioned. So what is new, Minister? The removal of subsidies is not meant to help the poor, but to punish us, the poor who voted the PF into office. If it was meant to help the poor, why are prices of goods and services going up? That is a message from Mporokoso. Very, very important question you need to answer there, MP. Failure by PF to reintroduce windfall taxes made them to start panicking by using the separate measures removal of subsidies. Okay? PF government should also consider removing unnecessary allowances that senior government officials get through workshops every week. Subsistence allowance, out-of-pocket meal allowances, etc. Millions are spent every week, and this does not translate into any development. Thank you so much. There is nothing wrong to remove subsidy. What we need is practical accountability and auditing of those funds. Labour Ministry needs overhaul or dissolution. That is Jericho from Chingola. Thank you so much. Abena Zambia, we gave PF mandate to rule. It's a team of experienced experts, educated and mature people. I don't think they cannot foresee the consequences of their action. Let's wait and endure now. Be optimistic. Dawn will surely come. That is Mwansa of Mufulira. This country is not a one-man show. Sata should tell us how much cost the 150,000 tons of maize he agreed to give Mugabe on phone without government approval. That is coming through from Baghdad. Honorable, where the by-elections budgeted for? If not, where is the money coming from? That is Anthony Sikombe. Let's leave it there. Director, okay, Honorable Sampa, please tell the President to also increase the tax on beer so that we channel that towards developmental projects like Vubu Road. That is...
Muhammad won't mind. I don't think he drinks.
No, I don't, but...
very quick question, Minister. This issue of by-elections is a very sticky debate. Chishimba Kambuli was saying this money for by-elections has been budgeted for. Did we budget for over 10 by-elections?
Costa, let me start with this misnomer. This thing about us giving maize free to
I'll come to that. Let me start with the by-elections. You are in Ministry of Finance. How much do we spend per by-election?
First of all, everything being equal, I was part of the budget formulation last year. Yeah. You anticipate that in any year, there will be 1 or 2 people that will resign, or an MP may die, or whatever. So you put in the budget, estimate maybe 3 to 5 potential by-elections.
So you didn't budget for these ones that are happening?
No. I was going to say, you cannot, but what you don't do is foresee. Okay, you put a budget is only an indication. So you put 5. Suppose it so happens that 8 MPs die anyway. So.
No, but it's about management. It's about management.
But they're not dying.
Any responsible government. You've spoken about managing subsidies, how they are being administered.
Right.
Can't we manage this process?
The truth is, we budgeted for give and take 8 by-election, but it looks like there will be more.
Are they necessary? Is my question.
Who am I to ask? Is it the PF?
As a responsible government.
Well.
That is
failure to hold the election will be breaking the Constitution. The Constitution says, 1, there is freedom of association. Okay, political parties are like open church. The doors are open. If one decides to move out of the Catholic and go to Pentecost or any other church, no one will stop them. If somebody decides to resign from the MMD on their own without coercion, we are not coercing them. Give us proof we are coercing them. They have their right to decide.
But as a responsible government, just hold on, Mubarak.
Okay.
23 of your MPs were expelled from the party because President Sata said going to NCC was a sheer waste of taxpayers' money.
If anything.
And he did not support them going there.
Yes, and he was calling for by-election. He was saying let them resign, but they were scared to resign.
No.
Let me ask Muabi one question.
He was against the by-elections, but
he wants
the question
wanted the by-election.
The questions that you was asking, were these by-elections budgeted for? You said you only budgeted for at least 8.
Yes, because it's not an exact science. You cannot foresee how many people are going to die. You cannot foresee how many people resign.
As a person in government, how are we going to treat this expenditure?
Let me help you.
It will have to be supplementary.
It will make a budget overrun.
It
will make a budget overrun.
Yes, on that particular line of by-election.
Mugabe's issue.
Let me help him. Yeah. According to the statement by President Sata.
I wanted to ask you a question.
Okay, you can ask, but let me finish this one first, Honorable.
You will answer it as well. If an MP for PF, we hear today, MP under PF, resigns, wants to join MMD. Are you going to be against that move?
Yes, we will be. Let me answer. I was part of the Constitutional Conference Commission, and where we were at your technical committee, we unanimously agreed that we should prevent crossing of the flow. The majority of Zambians don't want this wasteful expenditure of taxes. They don't want it. But the more important issue is this. In a statement that the President has made, he said that one of the reasons that the subsidies have been removed is because they cause budget overruns. Okay? So it is okay to punish the poor, because you want to seal the loophole in budget overrun, but it is okay to have budget overruns when it concerns by-elections. You have admitted. It is not okay to help the poor people with subsidy, but it's okay to have budget overrun when it means that you have to increase the salaries of the president on 2 occasions, and the ministers on 3 occasions, and the MPs. It is okay. It is okay to have budget overruns when you have not budgeted for districts. Now, I like the concept of districts, Minister, but when they are not planned, when it's just the president dreaming about them by himself, and I can see that the minister...
How do you know they are not planned?
No, because they're not in the budget. Are they in the budget? Can I bring you the
cabinet?
Can I bring you the white...
Most of these districts, when he announces, it doesn't mean tomorrow we'll start spending on that district.
But Minister...
If it wasn't budgeted for, the ones he was announcing last year, we're only implementing them in this year's budget.
Is it in the yellow book? Can you say to me that I can bring you the yellow book to you and you will point you whether you've budgeted for the 30 by-election? Tell me.
No, I already admitted.
Yes,
no,
so you're admitting.
Cannot predict.
It's not in the budget, so you
cannot
can't
predict.
So you can't say, Minister.
Tell me,
Minister,
whose fault is it that they are resigning?
Minister,
you should, as a MMD, you should keep them, Minister, so that they don't resign.
You're trying to divert the argument.
Answer my question. If a PF MP resigns today, are you going to be against that by-election?
We are running out of time, gentlemen, and let's not divert from...
You failed to answer that.
No, I have not answered it. I already answered it. I said that we don't want any PF members.
You refuse
We don't want any PF ministers.
I want
to the 2 of the members. I want all the ministers
I want to join MMC.
Yes, you can come. But
to the 2 of you, to the 2 of you. I think what the viewers would need to understand tonight is very fundamental.
Yes.
Number one, from you, what is the benefit? Because let us not lie to ourselves, and what people are telling this government is, do not shut your eyes. This is what you told the MMD, that they stopped listening.
Yes.
Do not shut your ears.
Yes.
People are saying the cost of living is expensive. Meal is expensive, fuel is expensive. What are you going to do in the immediate short term for me to survive? That's your question. For you, Mohabi, their decision, what does it subsequently mean, especially for production? Does it in any way bring development to this country? Let's begin with you.
Let me start with the other one on President Mugabe. There is no free maize that has been given to Zimbabwe. All the maize that's been exported is going to be paid for. There's a payment arrangement that have gone into place. So don't believe everything.
At a subsidized fee?
No, at a market price. So don't believe everything you read in the tabloids, okay? Some of it has some truth, but some of it is not factual. The president or this government has not given Zimbabwe any free maize. It's been sold to them. That excess maize that was produced at so much taxpayers' money is rotting. We don't have enough capacity to keep this maize. What's the point? You have a bumper harvest, you don't have anywhere to keep it. And FRA is owing all the banks in Zambia.
So why don't we improve on storage?
If FRA doesn't pay all the banks, some banks might go under. So how do we get the money? We export that money, we pay FRA. Where do we get the money to build the silos? You asked a very good question. Why don't we build the silos to store the maize? Where do we get the money from? This is part of the process. We borrow the Eurobond and we save where we think it's wastage. We are taking it in the villages, in Sindamisale there, in the rural areas, in Kabompo, and putting silos there.
That having food security is one way to increase on your import cover in case you have drought.
What's the point if you can't store it? That's what has been happening. The MMD were clapping. Bumper harvest. It was rotting. People consume the yield and they would have excess.
Can I ask you a small question, Minister?
Yeah.
What was the price of Milimo when the MMD was in power?
You tell me.
No, I want you, but we're being honest.
50 kwacha per 20.
No,
50.
please, it was not 50 kwacha. It was 36 kwacha. The average price was 36 kwacha.
Per
it went
25
up
kilogram
to
bag.
42 kwacha. Now he's saying the bumper harvest didn't have an effect. Minister, that is
okay, fine. Can I also ask you a question?
Please, go
While
ahead.
that was going on,
yes?
Why were the Zambian people still very poor? Why were the Zambian people no jobs?
Okay,
which they still are.
They had no money in their pockets.
Can you answer my question on the immediate short term? Because you promised that when you come into power, there will be more money in people's pockets. The young people still remain unemployed. You're saying you're removing subsidies to invest in hospitals and schools.
Which we were
now
doing
you have so many universities where the young people are going to work.
Well, we're creating the infrastructure.
Which we were doing.
Changing a country It's not an
It's not
overnight.
But you said 90 days.
It's
But
not
you
in
said 90 days. Didn't you say 90 days?
You have to differentiate between.
Okay. Tell me, my brother,
campaign.
did you say 90 days?
I didn't say it.
So
I
everything
don't
you were,
remember saying.
So everything you were saying in the campaign was a lie.
90 days didn't mean exact 90 days.
Oh.
It just meant we'll do it in
You
a
are
short
being
space.
dishonest.
We'll do it in a short
You are
space
being
of time.
dishonest.
You see, those are campaign rhetorics. Okay, wait. No. Those arguments you're advancing now, you brought them during the election.
But
You said the PF will bring gays, the
But
PF
in
will kill old
conclusion, let's
people.
not rule out.
Okay,
In
Doesn't mean
conclusion,
people didn't
the immediate
Can I-
short term,
can I-
people still remain poor.
Costa,
The cost of living is expensive.
Costa, when you want to cook shima,
Are you correct that this
when
is
you
just
want
for the
to
rich?
cook, when you want to cook shima, you don't just get milimi and water. Boom, everything shima is ready. Otherwise, it is shima ni visio. You take the process, warm the water, and put it slowly but sure. You takula it and you put it on a plate. Then you can eat it. We are putting money in poor people's pockets, getting it from the rich people, and giving it to the poor. That's why it's so emotional, and the colleagues. It's a process. Right now we are cleaning up. You have to light the fire first. You have to put them bawula to start cooking.
So in the
shima.
immediate term,
That's what we are doing now. And these are the fire. That's why
Zambians have to suffer. You're telling us to tighten our belt.
rich people have to suffer. Poor people in the rural areas.
But
status quo remains.
Minister, are you saying removing a subsidy on fuel and the price has gone up, only the rich will suffer? And only the rich will suffer when the price of fuel go up? Is that what you're saying?
No, the inflation will increase by
So
1
the
to 2%.
poor will suffer. For the short term.
First of all, inflation is 6-7%. If it goes to 9, about there, it's still within manageable levels. The impact, poor people will not suffer. By the time this subsidy, the impact, by the time it gets to Shangombo, would have already gone in there with the real help that they need.
The impact.
The impact.
Does this move
The
increase on our
impact. Let me
production?
say-
Does this move bring us jobs?
No, it does not. In fact, they promised ZNS they should tell us what has happened to the fantastic idea Honorable Kambui was telling. Because
I'm not Honorable Kambui.
No, but you are.
And I'll never be.
But
so.
you are poor. No,
I'm not here representing Minister of Sports, but he's my good
what
friend.
will be the impact? I hope that that I will not be arrested for this because it will be misunderstood. When the subsidies was removed in 1986, it caused riots. Okay? And the riots in the Copper Belt. And the person who was beloved Kaunda began to face some very difficult times. When the subsidies on education and on minimum were removed in 1991, we had the June riots. I was there. Okay? When the Chilua administration removed subsidies, by the end of 1996, they had to change the constitution to exclude Kaunda from coming back because poor people saw that it had an impact on them. I'm giving them a friendly warning, okay? Not because I'm going to instigate it, but I can assure you that if the PF is going to continue on this arrogant path, where they are not listening to people.
Arrogant is the wrong word. People,
but
Mwabi, you are not people.
Can I finish?
You are only one amongst 13 million Zambians.
Let me finish.
That's the problem with the campaign in the MMD and the opposition. I hear one person says this and say,
No, I'm not.
actually the tone is the Zambian people want this. Who has appointed you the spokesperson of the 13 million Zambians?
Let me finish. Honorable, first of all, you have to remember, Honorable, that I'm not here in my capacity as Mohabi Lungu. We agreed.
Right?
Yes,
Right.
I am in here in my capacity as a member of the MMD, which in 2011...
Whose membership now is
Please
below...
listen. Which in 2011, the people of Zambia gave us 55 seats and they gave you 60.
Right.
So I am representing a major constituency on this show. Please do not say that I'm representing my own views.
No.
And I am giving the views
So
in
you should
accordance
say the
to what
MMD.
they said.
Don't
So
say the Zambian people.
Let
the
me
MMD
finish.
is not the Zambian people.
The MMD had 998,000 voters.
So you should say you are representing those.
998,000
And the PF
voters.
had what? 1 million?
The PF had 1,200,000 and something voters.
So
The
when you
difference-
speak, you're not representing
the
the 1 million people.
the
who voted for
UPND
PF.
had 500
But
something voters.
13 million,
If you
13
combine,
million Zambians are being affected by these
those
policies.
are the ones who voted.
And those are the ones that are listening to us, not
but what
PF and
honorable?
MMD.
What honorable?
The impact.
Okay,
The impact.
but I'm
of
telling you the
yes,
impact.
Let's not go into the political battle.
It's not the
impact.
political. The impact is that this measure has got the capacity to hurt millions of Zambian people. And we in the MMD and everyone else who did not vote for them because they only got 42%, they have a moral responsibility to listen to those of us who are speaking on behalf of the 59% people that did not vote for them.
Well,
they should not say that we are speaking on our own behalf. It is not right, Minister.
No, you are speaking on...
We have been given a mandate to provide checks to you. You are providing checks to us.
So let's get to the impact.
The impact will be a bad one if they don't manage it properly. And from what
they're saying, it
will be a bad... I'm not being a prophet of doom. I'm just saying that people are going to suffer. People are going to suffer. And I urge the PF, Minister, I urge you, I ask you to speak to President Michael Sata to reconsider this decision. He must reconsider this decision and ensure that if you are going to remove the subsidies, give a time frame. Warn people to say maybe in another 5 years we'll win you off. Maybe in another 5 years we'll win you off. I ask you politely, out of my own heart, that the President Michael Sata must reconsider this decision because it is going to hurt a lot of people.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Our time is up.
I know my cabinet, I know the president. These things are thought of thoroughly. We've thought about them. We know what we are doing. Give us time. In Bemba, they say, Mwinshinsha Shranya. We've just started. You want results before we even start working.
But you said 90 days.
I didn't say that.
Oh, they were rhetoric. I'm sorry. You said they were rhetoric, campaign rhetoric.
Costa, give us, the Zambian people gave us 5 years to deliver. And in 2016, there's election. First of all the by-election we've been winning. That means our populace is growing. They are green. Muhavi
but people don't have jobs and they don't have money in their pockets.
They are patient. They know we are doing something about it. This subsidy, we've squeezed the rich people. Those who are eating. We've squeezed them. That's why they are sweating.
Gentlemen,
just one little moment.
The money is going.
Sorry, this is very important.
I need to cut you off. Unfortunately, there's no...
people are annoyed. We've taken the money.
Sorry so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much. We need to close.
Forget President Sata.
No, I cannot forget him. He's my president. He's my president. So I cannot
here.
Thank you so much.
He's not here.
Viewers across Africa, viewers across the country, thank you so much for having, being part of this. Those who texted and those who sent us, interactions via Facebook. We'll see you next week at the same time. We'll try to find another platform to continue this debate on subsidies. Many seem to misunderstand and get confused on the complication of this matter. We hope that our two panelists have been able to explain. My appeal to you, Minister, is for more of your government officials to avail themselves to come on this platform to explain.
There's no concluding remarks. There's no concluding remarks.
I'm sure the viewers also want to see more government officials to explain these policies and explain
with the opposition sitting side by side.
Thank you so much for coming, and
I think the minister first.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Costa, for inviting me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother.
Good night.
It has been an enjoyable debate.
Thank you so much.